What's up, y'all? Hope everybody's week is all vibes except for the barista at Starbucks in Stanford who would only fill my cup with no ice halfway. Shame on you, girl. Just greedy. Anyway, sorry, y'all. I'm late with this episode. I know a lot has happened. My cousin called me the other day, my accountability partner, and she was just like, girl, like, what's up with the new episode? Like, what's going on? So, forgive me, y'all. I have a 9-month-old baby. She takes a lot of my time, but we here, we back. I was traveling as well. I also was able to connect with some of my other cousins from Florida who I grew up with. And the thing is, y'all got to understand about Southern culture is your cousins are like your siblings. So that was really beautiful to be able to connect with my cousin. We realized we had been texting each other on the wrong phone number. Crazy. Also connected with my cousin Pooh, who I found out is a true crime fan. Shout out to my cousins. Hopefully y'all listening. Another funny fact about my cousin, y'all. My cousins, they were the first people to teach me about what a period was when I was like 9 years old, and I started crying. Shout out to my cousins. I love y'all. Anyways, just remember, y'all, if y'all need to reach the Black Girls True Crime team, our email is info@blackgirlstruecrime.com. Today's episode is an extension of episode 1 regarding the Idaho murders. Now, if you're catching up, in November of 2022, 4 college students were killed in their home in the early morning hours. After a manhunt of about 6 weeks, Brian Kohberger was arrested and pled guilty to the crime. And for those of you who don't know, he really didn't have a known connection to the victims. One of the biggest mysteries of this case is that it was seemingly random. His sentencing hearing was about a week ago. He got life without the possibility of parole. This was part of a plea deal for him to avoid the death penalty, which I still don't fully understand a person who would commit such a disgusting crime and is afraid to die. Also, due to a verdict resolution in this case, hundreds of investigation documents were released by Moscow Police Department because the gag order was lifted. So let's talk about the hearing first. This was a very emotional hearing. Brian Kohberger respectfully declined to speak, so we didn't get any more information on motive or weapon. His mother and sister were there. He had minimal contact with them as well. The family and the victims got to deliver impact statements. So I just want to specifically talk about Dylan Mortensen's statement. It was particularly powerful. Okay, y'all, at this hearing, these girls dropped some bars. She called Brian Kohberger a hollow vessel. She also said he was less than human. She spoke a lot about her trauma and how she could not be alone after it happened. She also spoke about having to look over her shoulders, how she was having panic attacks. And she also brought up people showing up to her house, like these internet sleuths, people trying to get information. And they were blaming her for her response, maybe calling the police so late, and just overall nastiness online. So I found her to be very brave and her statement to be very powerful. I had said in episode 1, trauma is real. Like, y'all have to understand what trauma does to a person. Your body is in a state of shock. Your body is in a state of fight or flight. So she didn't deserve that discourse online. And I'm glad she spoke on it to let people know, like, it didn't just end at my friends getting killed. Like, there were so many layers to her trauma, including how the public treated her after. So, again, I think that we have to understand that this was not something that you just go to counseling and then you're over. Olivia Goncalves also went in on Brian Kohberger. I felt like her statement was powerful as well. She definitely took him down, okay? Just to quote her, she called him slow, sloppy, weak, dirty, delusional, pathetic, hypochondriac, loser. Like, tell him how you feel, girl. So, I just really appreciated the fact that the family was able to come up and the survivors and speak and really let him have it. Now, another side to this hearing, what also came out of it was the investigation documents that were leaked. And I'm going to summarize, I'm going to paraphrase. I had started reading these documents and then I had to stop because some of it was just a little too much. But I continued so that I could report back to my listeners. It really painted a better picture of what it was like for those officers and really the surviving victims. A lot of the friends of the students that were called to the house, also victims that had to witness that had to be there for that. It talked about that. Most of the investigation documents were consistent with how gruesome the crime scene was. You know, we had heard in the news and on the media outlets that 4 students were killed, they were stabbed. But these documents revealed that one of the students was also beaten in the face with an unknown object that they never recovered. The placement of some of the bodies led them to believe that he didn't go in there to kill everybody. He went in there to kill specific people and encountered some people on the way out. They were just collateral damage, which is even more eerie and dark and more dark layers to this story. They also mentioned more information about him when they investigated him, when they brought him in. You know, he asked for a lawyer pretty quickly. He had some small talk with police officers and just things that happened throughout the investigation. So I read through most of it. I'm not going to lie, I skipped around here and there just because, like I said, it was just a lot. I can't just consume snuff film I can't consume snuff film at all, but snuff documents, things like that, I really got to take my time with because I got to keep my mind light. It was heavily redacted. A lot was heavily redacted. So again, you know, there information that we'll probably never know. I think one of the biggest revelations in the documents was just how gruesome and brutal this crime was. Like, it wasn't just like a one stab, oh, I'll stab you in the neck and now you died. Like, he stabbed one of these victims over 50 times, you know. There was arterial blood splatter. For those of you who are in healthcare, you know what arterial blood looks like, you know, and the pressure in which that would have had to splurt over the walls, that's intense. And just how he left and pretended like nothing happened. You know, he took photos the next day or a couple days after of a selfie, like him with a thumbs up. That's a very popular photo circulating online. And yeah, so if you guys are interested in reading those documents, you can go to the city of Moscow, Idaho. Even if you type in Kohberger investigation documents, I think they set up a whole page dedicated to just those documents. So essentially the conclusion to all of this is life without parole. That's where Brian Kohberger is. That's where he will die. I don't imagine it's going to be like a country club incarceration, obviously due to the brutality of the crime and the high profile nature. I'm sure there are other inmates in there that knows who he is and what he did. Those girls will be okay. You know, the survivors, the family members, you know, again, they will forever be changed. But if they're listening, if anybody close to them is listening, they will be okay. They will grow from this. They will thrive and be successful. And so I definitely just speak over them peace and peace of mind. So anyways, that's all we have for today, folks. I'm Lauren. I'm signing out.